Mercedes are yet to confirm who will replace Lewis Hamilton as one of the most infamous seats he's left open from 2025 onwards, and the latest development of events has taken the entire F1 world by surprise, to say the least. Although many were betting on Alonso or Vettel to come out of retirement and provide the much-needed experience, reports have been stating that Mercedes might opt for the boldest move they've ever made since the team completed a return in the sport in 2013. If the Silver Arrows commit to signing their junior, who skipped F3 and will race in F2 in 2024, how will this pan out for them? And considering that Briatore, Alonso's former team principal, and Wolff already had lunch potentially discussing this topic, is Mercedes meeting a crossroads when it comes to replacing Hamilton? It's safe to say that Kimi Antonelli is one of the hottest names in the F1 world, and now reports say that we might be looking at a lot more action from the Italian superstar, who's been tipped to join Mercedes from 2025 onwards. Although the original stance of Mercedes was neutral, saying that he had a big season in F2 he needs to complete before being considered as a replacement of Hamilton, reports share that the current plan A of the Silver Arrows is to complete the signing of Antonelli in Mercedes. And if that somehow doesn't turn out to be their reality, then Alonso is put as their plan B option. There are lots of moving pieces here, and as of now, nobody can actually compare Antonelli and Alonso in terms of who will bring what. Both of them bring something that the other cannot bring to the table, and both of them have individual values. It's up to Mercedes to determine which one they want to have in their team from 2025 onwards. Right now, it seems like they've embarked on a way in which Russell will lead the way, while Antonelli will gather much-needed experience and could turn out to be the next Verstappen on the grid, assuming that Mercedes understands the technical regulations in 2026 right and return to their competitive ways. When reporting about this matter, The Race went on to say that one of the key reasons why Wolff is trying to pursue Antonelli and promote him to the big stage as soon as possible is because of the fact Mercedes missed out on Verstappen when the Dutchman was 16 years of age. As they wrote, "There's this feeling from inside the team that this is the new Verstappen, and that having lost out on signing the 16-year-old Max when he had the opportunity, Toto Wolff is keen to not repeat the mistake." If Antonelli does as expected in this F2 season, there is a very strong possibility he will directly replace Hamilton. Before Hamilton made his Ferrari announcement, the loose plan for Antonelli was 2 years at Williams before a move to the main team. In the meantime, being closely involved with the works team in simulator work, meetings, etc., similar to how it went with Russell. The Hamilton move has potentially changed that. But why is this move very risky? It's not a question of whether or not Antonelli is bound for F1, it's a question of timing. Antonelli has already competed with his fellow colleagues from F2 inside F3 machinery behind closed stages, and reports say that the Italian was seconds faster than the rest of the grid. The scary fact here is that it was his first time sitting in an F3 car. We and the rest of the world could only imagine what he's capable of with more competitive cars. But there's always the precautionary measure of nailing the timing right, as Wolff stated. The worst thing for Mercedes would be to put a lot of pressure on Antonelli to perform well to the point of him actually breaking down and absorbing too much of that pressure into himself, losing self-confidence on the way of doing so. Elaborating on this matter even further, Wolff said that Antonelli is definitely on the list to replace Hamilton because he has been part of the Mercedes family ever since he was 11, and he will drive with a very competitive team in F2, Prema Racing. But this is where they are going to leave things to stand as of now, him completing a full F2 season first. Obviously, Mercedes are not rushing their decision, and right now it's evident that they're looking for what's best for them in the long term, which might not be Alonso or Vettel. Adding to the scenario of Antonelli replacing Hamilton, Wolff elaborated, "Kimi has been with Mercedes since he was 11. He's been in the junior program, and his junior career was very successful. I think most important at this stage is that he concentrates on F2. I think if we start to spin his mind or unleash rumours in the media onto him, that is not going to help his F2 campaign. He's just stepped out of karts a few years ago, and he's not even 18, so I'd rather not start any speculation about Kimi going into F1 at this stage." The Austrian continued to talk about the future of the team, further fueling the scenario of signing Antonelli as the best possible one for Mercedes, because according to him, the team would need to ask themselves who would be the best teammate for Russell before they commit to somebody. Obviously, the answer to this question is Antonelli, because Mercedes cannot possibly believe that they will sign Alonso and he'll be sitting in the back, waiting for instructions or test out setups like Hamilton did in 2022. Adding to this matter, Wolff said, "But in 2024 and 2025, the driver market is very interesting. We need to look out to the future. Who can we partner with George? What's the best combination? I think in terms of the drivers that could hopefully join, there's a variety of options. At this stage, I wouldn't want to commit to this is when we're going to do it. I want to take my time. But what is even more important is that Wolff confirmed that Mercedes' time to make bold moves and sign bold drivers to their team might have come, because Hamilton's move to Ferrari definitely caught everyone off guard, and it showed that anything is possible in the F1 world. On top of that, it's not like there's a massive crisis in Aston Martin, so Alonso would be forced to get out, similar to what he's facing in Alpine in terms of competitiveness compared to Aston Martin. And another situation that Mercedes would be avoiding is the leadership of the team, because if they sign Antonelli, it would be suggesting that they're putting all of their hopes in Russell to be their next champion in the following years. I'm not saying that Antonelli won't be competitive, quite the contrary, but by the time he learns how to properly handle an F1 car, it might take him a couple of years, and he will be going against a driver who had entered his 4th season with Mercedes, having a couple more in Williams behind his back too. Of course, Mercedes could juggle their options and put Alonso in the seat from 2025 onwards, while Antonelli could be signed to Williams to gain experience. But as of now, the Grove-based squad did not express their wishes to depart ways with any of their drivers. If Albon decides for a bombshell move to Red Bull from 2025 onwards, or Sargent proves to not be made out of F1 cloth, then Antonelli would see an opening in order to gain a couple of years of experience and then follow the path that Russell has paved for him. The question of Mercedes is whether or not they want an experienced driver like Alonso to provide a lot of feedback and his opinion on the car's performance, with the downside that he might not be there long enough to build a long and stable team around him, meaning that sooner rather than later, Mercedes would have to open up the driver's question yet again. However, with Antonelli, the team would be dedicated to building a solid culture, similar to what is currently happening in McLaren. So, once the championship-winning machinery comes to their hands, they will have 2 very strong and young drivers who can be a real threat to Verstappen's reign. Obviously, Alonso doesn't have that much time left in the sport, and he might want to spend it at a highly competitive level with Aston Martin, as the Spaniard believes that the team is on the right track to return to what they've started at the beginning of the 2023 season. But he hasn't ruled out the opportunity to sign for Mercedes either. He feels like Hamilton's move was truly a surprise, and similar to Wolff, it opens up the opportunity to never say never to any chance given your way. But his primary focus remains with Aston Martin as of now. Adding to this matter, Alonso said, "I'm aware of my situation right now, which is very unique. There are only 3 world champions on the grid, and fast world champions, because maybe in the past they were not so committed to be fast. And yet I'm probably the only one available for 2025, so I have a good position. But at the same time, when I make the decision of whether I want to keep racing or not in the future, first the only talk I will have in the beginning is with Aston Martin, because that will be my only priority, and then the number I will keep racing. A few years ago I said 42, 41 is the limit, but now after last year when I saw myself motivated and performing well, I think maybe that I can keep racing a few more years." With Antonelli being the future and Alonso being the present for the team, Mercedes have a lot to think about when it comes to the next driver alongside Russell. But as the race reports, and judging by the latest statements made from Mercedes as to what kind of driver they'd be looking to pair up with Russell, Antonelli might not be that far away from F1 after all. The only thing he would need to do is prove that he is the next Verstappen and annihilate the competition in F2, which would almost guarantee him the seat in Mercedes. Do you think that Antonelli is the right choice for Mercedes in 2025? Let us know in the comments below. And after you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.